Salam, shalom, and welcome to World Interfaith Harmony Week event, proudly brought to you today by Whittlesea Interfaith Network and proudly supported and funded by City of Whittlesea's Cultural Heritage Fund. My name is Gulhan Yildiz, and I'm the very humbled president and inexperienced president of Whittlesea Interfaith Network this year, and I'll be your MC for this event. Our topic for today is Women of Faith, Footsteps to Whittlesea. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the ongoing custodians of this land throughout Australia and pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. I acknowledge that these lands have never ceded, and I commit to listening and learning about how I can better support First Nations people by educating myself, my family and my community. Today we're celebrating World Interfaith Harmony Week, which was first proposed at the United Nations General Assembly in 2010. It's an initiative that calls faith leaders and people of no faith as well to engage in dialogue, and something that we do very often and very well here at Whittlesea Interfaith Network. This formula includes people of all goodwill, so people of all faiths and no faith, they come together and participate. Now I'd like to welcome Sister Maureen for the opening prayer.
Our prayer reflection comes from a book, Sacred Earth, by Martin Gray. The Power of Place. Long before there were religions, there were regions of the earth. Early people, following herds of animals, wandered these regions as hunters and gatherers. Walking over large areas of land, and in tune with the vital earth, they occasionally discovered certain power places. Perhaps a spring, a cave, or a mountain, or maybe a site that had no remarkable visual appearance. Yet these places had a mysterious power and a spirit. Because of this quality, ancient people began to mark these places in different ways, often with piles of stones, so that the sites might be seen from a distance if others passed by in years to come. With the continuing seasonal movements of the animal herds, the early nomads moved too, thereby discovering more and more power places on the face of our earth. Today, we stand in the place called Whittlesea, in the footsteps of women of faith who have come here from all corners of the earth. We are invited to listen with their stories and maybe to parallel them with our own. As a religious sister of charity, living what we call the consecrated life, I live the joy of the gospel through our charism, Caritas Christi urget nos, the love of Christ draws us on, sharing the love, tenderness, and concern of Jesus for all people.
Thank you very much, Sister Maureen, for that opening prayer. It was very, very beautiful. The reason why we're hosting this event is because during the COVID-19 restrictions in Victoria for us, we very quickly realised that we were missing a significant virtual presence. And if we wanted to continue staying connected as interfaith communities and continue to work together, we needed to establish platforms where we can continue to engage in a way that's sustainable and in a way that's resilient against whatever life throws at us. So we did, our public relations officer, Grinda Cora, will talk to you a little bit about what we did a little later on. One of the things that we did in this project was interview women of various faiths that are represented in the City of Whittlesea. And, yep, perfect. Okay, and what we asked them 4 main questions. Some of them we approached differently based on their stories, but the questions asked were, generally speaking, was tell us a bit about where your journey started, what brought you to the City of Whittlesea, tell us a bit about how your faith may have helped you in your journey, and if there's anything that you'd like to share for other people of your faith that are moving into the City of Whittlesea, because we are in a growth corridor, and our community here is growing each year. With that, I'd like to ask Gorinda to let's play our first interview with Miss Jennifer.
My name is Glenys Southurst, and today I'm interviewing Jennifer Mordecai, who's going to tell us more about her faith and what brought her to the City of Whittlesea.
Hello Glenys, lovely to meet you. I started my journey in Mumbai, which was my birthplace. My forefathers were Jewish, of the Jewish faith, and we call ourselves the Bnei Israels, which means sons of Israel. I studied in a convent, for a little while, and then I moved on to another school closer to home. My schooling was all in English. However, I did learn the local language, which was Hindi, and Marathi, which was state language. So I had those up my sleeve, and we had to learn, of course, a little bit of French, a second language, and so on and so forth. I did complete my schooling there in Bombay, and I went to intermediate arts for 2 years. In the meantime, my father passed away, so my mom decided to leave India, and we moved to Israel. She was a young widow.
Yes.
And so we moved to Israel with my siblings in 1975. I was very young. I was 1995. I was 19 years old, sorry. Mm. That's where I met my husband. He is also from the same faith, the Bnei Israels, and both my children were born there. I worked there for a little while. I studied to teach English as a second language. I taught in a school for a little while, and I gave private lessons to teach English as a second language. It was a bit of a cultural shock, but you move on and you adapt, as you live there. And then we decided I had to learn another language, of course, which was Hebrew. So that was another thing, learn another language,
It's difficult.
So then I did work a little bit as a secretary. In 1991, my husband and I, with my children, decided to move to Australia. His sister sponsored us, I should say, and we moved to Melbourne. Yeah. So I found a job here, struggled a little bit, another cultural shock, but we managed. I studied. Again, I changed my whole course of, my career, and I worked in a childcare center. During these last few years, I have done my diploma and certificate in children's services. Worked for 10 years, and then due to I was not feeling well, I had knee problems and so on and so forth. I said, I need to move on. So I did my certificate and diploma in vocational education and training, as well as my advanced diploma in childcare.
You've done a lot. You've done a lot and
Yes,
come a long way.
I have come a long way.
Yes.
So at the moment I am still working. I'm working for Melbourne Polytechnic for the last 10 years. I am still enjoying myself.
Are you teaching? Or?
I'm teaching and assessing both. I'm training students 18 plus to work in the childcare sector. Oh. So I teach both certificate and diploma classes, yes.
Oh, lovely. And did you come to live in the city of Whittlesea when you came to Australia?
Yes, that's one of the reasons why we moved to Whittlesea, because of our jobs, my job and my husband's job. He worked in Preston and with Melbourne Polytechnic. It used to be NMIT.
Oh, yes.
So, and then we found a job here, and we are here from 1993 in Whittlesea. So, yes.
Long time
from
now.
here, yes.
And did your faith help you in that journey?
Yes, we got connected with our faith. We became members of our synagogue here in St Kilda. We are a small community here in Melbourne. In Whittlesea, I've got a few families here, but all over Melbourne as well. So yes, we are connected. We meet for our high holidays at the synagogue. Of course, through bar mitzvah, celebrations of bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, birthdays, weddings, you know. It's all part of that culture.
Yes.
You know, yeah. Yes, so, yeah, and that keeps us all connected, you know, with our faith, you know.
It does. Yeah, and you find people like-minded, don't you?
Yes, like-minded, and, you know, when we share that, you know, we share our ideas and so on and so forth. Later on, we were connected to the Victorian Commission, Multicultural Commission,
oh, yes,
as well as the National Jewish Council of Australia, and so they knew, okay, so there is a group of people called Bnei Israels from India who are Jewish. A lot of them didn't know that there was a community in India and here, you know. So we got connected through a few people, and then they decided to, then they invited me to do this project, and the project was to create a cookbook with all our recipes, the Bnei Israel recipes. Yes. There's a lady called Nancy Sugarman, and she was the writer, and she was the project coordinator. And she interviewed us, me and a couple of people, my sister and some other people, and we got a book. We wrote a book.
See, there'd be a number of different cultures in your faith.
In my faith, no, just the Bnei Israels, and there's another one. There's another group of people called the Baghdadi Jews.
Oh.
They came from Iraq, and they migrated to India, to Calcutta, Bombay, and so on and so forth. So we've got them as well. Of course, there's the Cochin Jews down south, and they're all Indians, but you know, if you have to break it up, you got the Cochin Jews, you got the Bnei Israels, you got the Baghdadi Jews, and I think there's another one on the other side of India, and they call themselves Sons of Menash or something like that.
Are there many from your faith living in the city of Whittlesea?
Yes, my sister, my mum, my nephew, and a couple of their families.
Children?
My children, my daughter's in Doreen. My son at the moment has moved out to Abbotsford, but yes, his home is still home.
Yes, yes.
They don't leave.
Yeah.
So yes.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Yes, I did attend the interfaith here a couple of years ago.
A couple of functions.
Yes, we had in 2018-19. I did share some of my recipes here.
Oh yeah, that was the Carnival of Connection.
The Carnival, yes. So I was here for those as well. Yes, and we have every year the Jewish festival held in Elstonwick, and I do attend there, and we did go there and do again recipes, shared my recipes, our recipes there as well. So yes, I've been around, like, you know, everywhere.
Yes, you have. You've well and truly integrated yourself into the community,
yes,
haven't you?
Yes.
You live and work here.
Correct.
And so most of the Jewish people of your faith living in the city of Whittlesea
are connected. We are related.
Yes,
we are all related, sort of thing. Yes.
That's handy, isn't it?
Yes.
For social occasions.
For sure. Yes. Most of us are here. Some of them are a little bit further, Moorbark and the city, and so on and so forth. But the near and dear ones are a bit close by. Yes.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. That's
no
really
worries.
interesting.
Yes.
I love hearing all these stories.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and thank you very much for inviting me to share my story. You know, I am here in Australia for 29 years now, and yeah, I can see myself growing, and I have achieved a lot.
You have.
You know,
Yes.
And I'm proud of that, and my children are proud of that, and then my husband too.
So
I
you
should
should
say my
be.
husband too, but yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was beautiful. Well done, Jennifer and Glenys.
Thank you.
That was really great. So thank you, everyone. I think, as Gulhan mentioned, due to COVID restrictions, this year it's very unique, and we have been doing things very differently. And this is one of the first, I think, time that Whittlesea Interfaith Network is hosting an event on a virtual platform, which is great. We can still do the things, but in just a different ways. And technology is really something that I know we don't want to be controlled by technology, but definitely there is some control of the technology, and we can, still do the things with the aid of technology. So with that, this video that you just watched, Jennifer, and some more videos that we will watch, Whittlesea Interfaith Network has now got their own YouTube platform, which is great. So thumbs up for that. And I'll request everyone to please subscribe to this YouTube channel. We will be happy to share the link and send you an email so that you know what is the link for Whittlesea Interfaith Network, and you can watch all the videos over there. So please do subscribe. Other than that, with the virtual platforms, there is definitely, we do have a Facebook page as well. We had this page from a long time, but I think we haven't been that active as we have started recently, I believe. And again, we all know that this is an age of social media platforms. Everyone is connected through technology. We are living in a kind of a virtual world, and you never know. And we need to use this technology, in a positive way, so that we can benefit from each other and still be connected. So Facebook is one of our social media platform, and again, I will say that we will be sending you a link for our Facebook page as well. And a big project that I'll say Gulhan, with initiative of Gulhan, we have brought up this year, and we are still working on that, is a website of Whittlesea Interfaith Network. It's still in progress. I don't have much on the website yet, but happy to share the link. And of course, in coming days, we will be having the website ready. I will just be sharing the link in the chat box as well. So the website is whittleseinterfaith.org.au. So in coming days, this website will have all the things that I was talking about, our social media platforms, our YouTube links, all the events that will be planned for the future, and even the past events, what's happening in the faith network space, and some stories, memories of the past. We have collated, some events, wonderful events that Win has conducted in the past. We will be bringing all those memories fresh on this website as well. So those who have been linked to Whittlesea Interfaith Network for many, many years, I think it will be a good refreshment to watch those videos and those pictures once again. And so that will be our new tiny house of Whittlesea Interfaith Network, and we will be open to any suggestions that you would like to see on the website, or if you have any great photographs of any memories with the Whittlesea Interfaith Network, please do send it to either of us, Glenys, myself, Gulhan, anyone you know or you're close to. That will be really great. So I think I'll just wrap over that. So we will be sending you links, as I mentioned, so that you can stay connected through this digital platform. So thank you once again. Thanks, Gulhan.
Thank you, Gorinda. Gorinda, are we ready for the next interview video from the speaker from the Baptist Temple interview?
Yes, we are ready.
Perfect.
I'm Glenys Southurst from the Whittlesea Interfaith Network, and today we're interviewing Giselle Patel. Giselle, would you like to tell us where your journey began?
So I grew up in the coastal city of Mombasa in Kenya. Being the eldest of 4 siblings, I had much responsibility on my shoulders, and for that reason I moved to Florida in America to pursue my degree in nursing. After completing my nursing degree, I made the decision to move to Australia after marriage. It's now been 7 years and we happily resided in the city of Whittlesea in the suburb of Doreen.
Lovely. And what actually brought you to the city of Whittlesea?
So my husband initially was living in the south, and once the temple was built, he made the decision to move here, and we discussed between us, and we decided that we would be happy to live here.
Lovely. Are there many people in the city of Whittlesea who attend this temple?
Yes, there's many people. There are a lot of people from the south area, western suburb, and also Geelong area that come here to visit the mandir and prayer.
So they come a long way, don't they?
They come a long way, yes.
Yes, you're lucky to be living close by. And what connected you to your community here in the city of Whittlesea?
So we've been living in Doreen, like I said, and we made that decision because the temple was closed and big part,
where you settled.
Yes.
Yes. And has your faith helped you settle in and connect to this community?
Yes, it has definitely helped me. By coming to the temple, there's a lot of activities going on that helps us connect to the community.
Yeah, and how have you managed connecting to the rest of society?
So like I said, all the activities that the temple organizes, there are a lot of projects, and some of the projects like the food donation drive, walkathon, and calamity relief like bushfire and drought relief. So by helping and volunteering my time in these projects, I'm able to connect to the community.
Yeah. Your community is very active.
Yes.
In society, aren't they?
Yes.
That's lovely. And can you tell us a bit about the history of your faith?
Okay.
You were actually born in India.
Yes.
And your parents moved to...
So I was about 1 year old. I was born in India, and when I was about 1 year old, my parents moved to Kenya. That's where I grew up. And when we moved to Kenya, my family took the culture, Indian culture, with them to Kenya.
Right. And are your parents in Australia or in Africa still?
They're back in Kenya.
Oh, back in Kenya,
Yes.
yeah. So there's quite a community of Hindu people there too?
Yes, a lot of Indian community.
Right.
So it's a diverse, there's a lot of people from different culture.
Is there an open invitation to any Hindus to come here, or do they have to be this particular type of Hinduism?
No, so the temple is open for everybody. Doesn't have to be Hinduism, it's open for all the humans. Whoever wants to visit can visit.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say to the community about this faith?
Yes, like I mentioned earlier, believing in this faith and living closer to this mandir in the city of Whittlesea has helped me connect to the wider community in the city of Whittlesea.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Giselle. That's very interesting. Everyone has a great story to tell.
Fantastic. Can I just acknowledge the great work of Glenys in conducting these interviews through this project? She's conducted so many of them, and I think she just makes such a calm and she brings out the stories in people. So I'd like to acknowledge it. How are people feeling so far? Are you relating to the stories? Are you enjoying the stories? Can I get some feedback? There's a little reactions icon on the bottom corner. So thumbs up or clap, or even just wave if you're happy to move forward, or if you want to take a little break to grab something to drink maybe. How's everyone feeling? All good? Oh, fantastic. Okay, the next part of our presentation, we have our Vice President for Whittlesea Interfaith Network, who was elected for 2021, Tanya Kubica, who'd be telling us all about a new initiative that we're also looking to launch this year called the Wisdom Circle. So I'll hand over to you, Tanya, for that presentation. I'll just spotlight now.
Thank you so much, Gulhan. Welcome, warm welcome, everyone. Salam alaikum, shalom aleichem. Greetings of peace to you all. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell you about this exciting and inspiring initiative that we are hoping to launch very soon, pending, of course, ongoing COVID restrictions. So we are hoping to launch wisdom circles for the Whittlesea Interfaith members and members of the community. Even if you're not a member yet, you're more than welcome to join. So Wisdom Circle is pretty much a contemporary or more modern term for compared to the ancient art of storytelling. So if you think about, like, in the ancient days, you would have, or the older days, you would have people traveling and they would get together at nighttime. They would come together at the campfire and share adventures or mischief or anything that happened along the way, or probably even relate another story that another traveler had passed on to them. And this way, stories would spread and would be kept alive, something that nowadays, in this age of fast technology, news overflowed, lots of information. People don't sit down anymore, or not often enough, I find, to sit and listen to what other people have to say. So these wisdom circles is pretty much a continuation of this old storytelling art. We would still get together in a small group, like an intimate group of maybe 8 to 10 people, depending on the night. We wouldn't probably have a campfire available, but we will light some candles, create a cozy atmosphere, usually ask people maybe to just bring a bit of food along and some nibbles and make everyone comfortable. And then the facilitator of the night would welcome you all and then give you a selection of maybe 5 to 6 different topics to choose from, just as an inspiration, and then kickstart the night with their own story in line with one of those topics. And then everyone would listen. The story is probably about 5 minutes long, not a continuous long novel that's being related, but just a snippet of a story. And then afterwards, everyone is given the time to reflect and maybe voice some comments as well. And with some people, instantaneously, that first story, something sparks in your mind and say, I remember this and this happened to me back in the days, or recently even. And then you are welcome to share your own story. Other people are probably more quiet or not sure what to say, or don't feel comfortable to share their own story. So they're invited to just sit there and listen tentatively to what is being relayed. But I can assure you, either way is fine. And also, you will leave the night feeling inspired and moved, touched, depending on the story. We have had happy stories, sad stories, but all of them have all been very moving. And they stay with you in a way that long after the actual Wisdom Circle night is over, you're still pondering upon it and reflect upon it. And I'm hoping we are able to launch these Wisdom Circles very soon. Whittlesea Interfaith Network members had the wonderful opportunity just before COVID lockdown struck us early in 2020 to attend a Wisdom Circle facilitator training with US-based company founder, Ideas Champion, the wonderful and inspiring Mr. Mitch Ditchkoff. So he trained us to be able to facilitate successful Wisdom Circles, so that everyone is welcome, and hopefully we can bring these to you very soon. And I'd love to see some of the people here tonight joining, and we will update you on that, as Gorinda mentioned, on our Facebook page, via email, and via our YouTube channel. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of you on those nights. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Tanya. And hopefully, as restrictions ease, it would be great to be able to catch up with it during these wisdom circles in person as well. Now, next up, we have our second last, just so you have an idea of expectation, we have our interview with Sister Maureen coming up next. And that was, I just had a sneak peek of it, but if anyone's got an opportunity to sit down with Sister Maureen, she's a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. So if you can play that for us, Gorinda. Gorinda is our technical expert and such value to have on board.
On behalf of the Whittlesea Interfaith Network, I'm interviewing people, women in particular, because we are holding an event on the 10th of February entitled Women of Faith, Footsteps to Whittlesea. So we're starting that story off with your story, Sister Maureen.
My name's Maureen Delaney. I belong, or I'm a parishioner of the Catholic parish of Christ the Light. And that's an umbrella for a number of parishes: St Joseph's Mernda, St Joseph's Doreen, St Mary's Whittlesea, Kinglake.
Now, Sister Maureen, your journey takes a different track to other people that we're interviewing, but yours is very interesting nevertheless, so we'd love to hear a bit about your story in the faith.
Well, thinking about right now, who am I here? I'm a parishioner of the Catholic parish of Christ the Light, which takes in Whittlesea, Kinglake, Mernda and Doreen and surrounding areas. And as well as that, I belong to the Sisters of Charity of Australia, a group of women who were invited here to Australia in 1838 to be with the women convicts. So I've got a great band of women with whom I minister and live throughout Australia. Mainly we've been in healthcare, St Vincent's hospitals in the capital cities, the smaller hospitals and outreach in healthcare, in colleges and schools, Catholic Ladies College, CLC at Eltham here in this area is one. It's one of the original schools of Melbourne. It used to be in East Melbourne, and about 40-50 years ago it was transferred out here, out here to Eltham, as were a few other colleges like, and I can't think what they are. Parade College in Plenty Road, and along Bridge Inn Road, the big college there.
Sister Maureen, can you just tell us where your journey began in this faith?
Well, as a family, the Catholic faith was very significant as I grew up as a child. Mum and Dad were very committed to church and church going, and as were our family friends. I grew up in Brunswick, within the Catholic parish of St Fidelis Moreland. And when I went to school, it was with family friends and people I knew. I was born in 1938, and as a child was raised with my 3 brothers and sister. We went to the local Catholic primary school. Secondary school, I got on the bus in Albion Street and went across to St Columba's College in Essendon. Our lives at home were pretty simple. We were growing up during the Second World War and then the Depression years, and Mum and Dad were very caring and loving of us at those times and always. When I left school, after I did my matriculation, I was working with the Department of Civil Aviation in the public service.
and I was enjoying a great social life among my many friends. But always within me there was something else that felt I was missing out on something. There was something I had to find. And thinking about it, I kept going back in my mind and memory to the sisters who taught me at school. They inspired me and helped me, and somehow I wanted to be like them. And so I decided I had to at least give it a go and become one of them. And that's what I have done. So, since 1961 until 2021, I have been a Sister of Charity of Australia. I have lived in different states, in the Ministry of Education, in schools, as a teacher. When I began teaching, there was a great need for science teachers, and somehow that's where I found myself. If I'd really had my choice, it would have been in English literature. It was my favourite area of study. But over the years I was science coordinator in colleges in New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria. So I was teaching science right then for many years, learning. I was learning a lot on the way, and also I was doing my own studies, especially in spirituality, and doing part-time study work. As time went on too, I became more focused in this being a spiritual guide with individuals and groups. And I was part of pastoral and spirituality centres in New South Wales, in Tasmania, and in Victoria and Doreen. This is where I came. But it was a journey to that, as people were seeking me out and learning, and I was learning. Life is a lifelong journey of learning.
It is. And Sister Maureen, this journey's also taken you overseas, I believe.
Yes, on a number of occasions actually. Upgrading my learning, I suppose. There's qualifications, but more the experience of being with people. It's been a wonderful journey in being a spiritual guide of people coming, seeking support in their life journey, where I've been in a spirituality centre, as I have been in Doreen and in Launceston. Just the people coming for a day or an hour or a week, just to spend time in quiet and reflection and prayer, and being with the scriptures, searching their life and where they were and how they might upgrade, so to speak, how they might be more relaxed and more aware in their searching for God.
Sister Maureen, you've certainly given your whole life to this journey. Could you tell us what it's like being a Sister of Charity?
Let me start by, I joined the sisters back in 1959, and we had 2 years of training, of learning what it meant. So we did a lot of learning about prayer and the scriptures and the teachings of the church. And we were young women. Well, I was 20, and I guess the others with me would have been about the same age. And we had a group would enter at the beginning of February, another group would enter at the beginning of July. And so the numbers would be coming all the time, and as each group finished the 2 years, that you'd be going on to a different area of Sydney, and you'd be learning there what it was to be a teacher, and then going on from there being appointed to different schools.
Was it difficult leaving your family?
Oh yes, that was a huge decision to make. and so hard for them.
Yes.
And then probably it wasn't until many years later I realised just how hard it was for them. I was on the go, doing whatever, whereas they were far distant. And it was interstate. I had to go to Sydney. My family were in Melbourne. And they weren't able to visit me. There were certain days or times when I could have visitors. Yes, but they were the hard. And today it has changed a lot, going along with the needs of the time.
Were you dressed in a habit when you first started?
Yes, not like initially the first 6 months, no, but then we had the first ceremony where you received the habit.
Oh.
And then I was living in a habit for many years. Until the 1970s, I think, we started changing and then moving into just the clothes of the people of the time. Like those habits that we wore, they were the clothes being worn at the time our foundress founded the order. So, you know.
So you don't actually retire, do you? You're a sister of charity until you die.
That's right, yes, which is wonderful, really. The companionship of the sisters whom I have known over the years and go on knowing. And then the new ones coming along all the time, and they have lessened over the years, but there are still people searching and wanting to do it in a way similar to what I have done.
Well, many of us would find that very hard, but I can see you're very happy with that choice you made.
Yes, but it has been hard, and there are times still, I guess, when it's hard, but it's part of me now. I've grown into it, as I ought to have over, 60 years.
Is there anything else you wanted to tell us?
I think what I have told you has been a bit of a muddle. I don't know that it's coming out as well as it might.
And where did the journey of the Sisters of Charity begin?
It began in Cork, in Ireland. And again, it was a reaching out to the needs of the people, the poor, the time of the potato famine. There was so much poverty. And our foundress, Mary Aikenhead, gathered young women around her, and they were reaching out. And she founded the Order of the Sisters of Charity. When the convicts were out were out here in Australia, the Archbishop of Sydney asked Mary Aikenhead if she would send some sisters to Australia to be with the women convicts, and we did that. Our sisters came here in 1838, and we've been here ever since. Certainly lifting the spirits and the lives of the women in who were there as convicts. And today at Parramatta in Sydney and in Hobart in Launceston, there are wonderful places where we can see what was done, the wonderful memorials that are there, and places showing the story of those years.
And I believe your family has a convict origin.
Yes. Well, my great-grandfather was a convict. He came out to Hobart as a 14-year-old boy, and he was at Port Arthur until he was 30. I always say he got in with the wrong crowd. If he'd behaved himself, he could have been released much sooner. So he had those grueling years there. And then he was released for good behaviour and good conduct in helping bushfires when he was 30. He met Catherine, who had come out with her father from Ireland, and they were married and they had 11 children, the 8th one of whom came to Victoria to the goldfields, and my mother was one of his children. It's amazing.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
And so my family sort of have gone on from there. And my other grandparents came from Tipperary in Ireland. So I've got a strong Irish
background.
root.
Yeah. And what do you do nowadays?
I'm very present. Well, I today live in a retirement village at Mernda. So I'm living among senior people and just being there, being present, being companionable. I'm very much part of the local parish of St Joseph's in Mernda, and take part in activities and help lead various parts of the liturgy that we take part in each weekend. It's a very active place.
Well, that certainly is a very inspiring story, and I hope others find it just as interesting as I have found it. Thank you, Maureen.
Wonderful. Another wonderful interview. Can I just also acknowledge at this stage the work of Gurinda in recording, editing, uploading the content. She's absolutely the person that we need to have on board to be able to move forward and have this this virtual presence, this online presence for Whittlesea Interfaith Network. And Sister Maureen, 1961 to 2021, that's 60 years is an incredibly long time to be committed to anything. So I applaud you for your commitment to the sisterhood. And you very humbly mentioned that you've been teaching and learning. I'm sure there was a lot of teaching involved there as a person of science as well. Now, I'd like to also at this point mention that we noticed this year is actually 15 years since the Whittlesea Interfaith Network was founded. Farzana, can you just confirm, has it been 15 years this year?
It's since 2006 when we started, but 2007 we had, we incorporated, this as a Whittlesea Interfaith Network. Yes,
an incredible amount of time, and this it's a role that's voluntary. So the people that are committed to the Whittlesea Interfaith Network are doing this because they value interfaith dialogue and interfaith engagement, and we welcome people to come on board and join the Whittlesea Interfaith community. All welcome. I also wanted to mention before we move on to our final, last but not least, interview for tonight. I wanted to mention that our next project to keep an eye out for is that we'll be recording our visits. Hopefully, if the restrictions are kind to us, we'd like to record our places of worship visits around the city of Whittlesea. We have done many visits to different places of worship in the city of Whittlesea, but we'd like to really capture those on video and be able to share that virtually with a broader audience. So that's our next project. If you're a part of a faith community and you'd like us to come out and interview the people in your community or interview at your place of worship, please contact us, get in touch with either of us. We'd be more than happy to set a date to do that interview. Now, without further ado, we've got the Venerable Chi Kwang Sunim's interview, and then we'll wrap up for the night. It's a very inspiring interview. Bear with me one moment. I'll actually bring that up right now. And once again, it's an interview that's been conducted by the wonderful Glenys. So I'll put that on now. 1 moment. I'm not as tech savvy, obviously. Here we go. Can everybody see my screen with Glenys? Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Oh, we've got some issue with sound.
Gulhan, you need to click before, so you need to close the share again. And when you restart your share, there is a checkbox underneath saying share sound audio as well. So you need to click on that.
I've actually got an issue with sound on the video. So the video is not recognizing sound. Let me see. Ah, yes. Maybe edit this part out, Gorinda. Let me see if that works. Okay, look, I'm going to try and put this on, but I'm not very confident with the sound aspect to it. It's very, very difficult to hear it. Here we go.
At about the age of
Stop share. Clicked.
Sufi writing, and particularly
Can you hear? Can anybody hear that?
And at the same time,
yes, it's very, the volume is very low.
Meditation
Very low?
through yoga.
So your journey has been
Recording.
See, I've got it on maximum volume
the
here.
Venerable Ji Kwang, who is a Buddhist nun in the Korean Zen tradition. Now, Ji Kwang, I know your journey.
Yeah, this is a technical issue that I've got no control of changing right now, so I do apologise for that. Clearly, we need to get Gorinda to do our video recording.
Quite young. I think I was.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll need to stop that, and we'll need to have a look at that after the program with Gorinda. Now, we've actually got some of our, I'll stop share as well. We've actually got some of our speakers that were interviewed with us here today, which we're very, very grateful for. We've actually got Venerable Chi Kwang Sunim with us in person joining live. We've got Sister Maureen Delaney. We've also got Jennifer Mordechai with us today. We've got Glennis, who's also conducted the interviews. So if you've got any...
Too.
And just
Little too, yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
She's here.
Jassal Patel.
Yes.
Oh, I just saw
Indian
you.
lady, yes.
Yes. How are you? Good. Well, welcome aboard. If you've got any questions for them, please feel free to write them in the chat box. Let me just see. Is it possible to email the link? We've just got a few comments in here. I'll just quickly go through. So if everyone's got the Whittlesea Interfaith Network website, which Gorinda passed on earlier, that'll be updated as well as we move forward. Last but not least, I'd like to thank all our speakers, all our guests for participating. I'd like to acknowledge that, like I said earlier, 15 years ago, Whittlesea Interfaith Network was actually founded by Chris Pavlidis, and we've got a number of people that have served for a decade or longer, and I'd like to acknowledge their contributions to interfaith engagement in the Whittlesea region. And I'd also like to thank City of Whittlesea for their funding support for this project. We have a small slideshow to share with you, which reflects some of the in the past few years, some of the events that we've been involved in. And with that, we will wish you a good evening, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.